Hey YouTube, this is Nashtaters. Welcome to another episode of War of Divisions. Now after I did this morning's video, I thought to myself, I keep looking at that picture of Niv. Niv is a Niv'Lu. You know what? Let's go and check her name out. What is her name? Niv. It is Niv. NivLu. Okay, I keep looking at her picture and I keep just thinking to myself, it's 2001 and everyone's talking about the return of Final Fantasy XIV, but perhaps not really showing too much love on the cold-blooded archer. But I thought to myself, should I be making a video on should you save or should you summon, but directed at me? So it's more like, should Nash save or should Nash summon? I think that makes more sense to me than me making a video for the community telling you what to do. So the more and more I thought about it, I realized I do want her, and I actually want her pretty badly. I think there's a lot of things going for her that makes her perhaps a unit that I really should put her on one of my accounts. Now, obviously, at the point where I am today, I have to figure out, do I want to put her on my main account or do I want to put her on my free-to-play account? And I think the more and more I thought about it, it doesn't really make any difference because the fact that, well, we are going to be getting, as I mentioned before, the brand new weapon. And I think that's going to determine, realistically speaking, whatever account you want to do, you're going to be able to summon the best bow, if you will, for her, right? I mentioned before that critical bow should be the one that you should be aiming for her. And I think that makes perfect sense. So I decided, I think I'm going to go on my main account and do this. And to me, I feel like she's just such a good unit. And I'm going to tell you why. And I think the reason I'm doing this is because I started off this channel essentially being recognized based on the idea that I did a should you save, should you summon video with Lucia way back in the days. And a lot of people enjoyed my outlook of this game. And in continuation of that, I thought maybe it's time for me to make one for myself instead of making it for the community. I think in general terms, the community are mostly adult players. And I think for the most part, you guys enjoy watching other people's perspective, whether we should save or summon, but ultimately the decision is in your hands. And there's not many ways for us to really convince you to do something that you weren't going to plan on doing anyways. So I don't think it's really necessary anymore for me to make those type of videos. But I'm at the crossroad of this game where I really want to just wait out everything before EX Shop 25 finally is dawn on us for the 1-year anniversary. And given the fact that Hiroki wrote a letter to us himself, suggests that perhaps he has big plans for us for 2021. So I was pretty hesitant in terms of summoning for any non-exclusive units. But then I thought about it. Do I really think about summoning too many exclusive units or premium units or whatever in the future? And I think most likely it's going to be very hard for me to max all those out in the future anyways, considering it's going to cost me 1,000 shards. 1,000 shards for those units. So I think what I decided to do is I'm really contemplating about Niv. I think she's a very unique unit in terms of combining massive hits jobs such as sniper and gunner, obviously, with time mage, because many people know time mage is one of the best jobs in the entire game, at least in my opinion, because of the quicken ability, right? Essentially, you give up your turn to make someone else take a turn right away, and that is very, very powerful. And add that with haste and slowing and stop, it's a pretty deadly support job. Personally, I never really been a humongous fan of range unit, but this game is telling me otherwise, that range is a necessity. Even for melee attackers in this game, the bulk of the player / units in this game all have some sort of range attack. And so unfortunately, we most likely have to be relying on range. Now obviously there's reviews out already on her, and I'm not going to really bother reviewing her, but I think it's important to understand what you're seeking out when you're actually looking for this unit. The biggest draw of this unit is her speed. She is super fast. In fact, she's so fast, and if you use time mage on her sub job, she can take her turn, do some damage, quickly take her turn again in the rotation and cast quicken to give someone else another turn. Therefore, you're taking essentially multiple turns. And I looked her up in terms of on ultimate.jp. Generally speaking, most units excel in one of three areas. Either be farming, or just general PvE content, or PvP content. And it seems like she's being ranked by the Japanese players, at least on that website, that she is actually going to be really good for all three, essentially because of her speed and her range. Now, if you pair her up with the Lucia TMR, she will have essentially a +5 range in all her attacks. Do I need to actually explain how powerful that is? Extra speed, extra range. This character right now is just pretty dominant in terms of something you can add to your account. Now, I rarely say this, that there's going to be units in this game that can make drastic changes to your account to make you much more stronger. I think a lot of people really rely on the idea of Orlando being that one unit when he first came out, and I think he was. For literally about 6 months, he was definitely the go-to character for all my accounts. And personally, I felt like he was the one unit that I could take anywhere. But I'm slowly seeing him kind of dwindling down in power level, and I'm now relying on Little Leela for the Halloween version, and perhaps Christmas Mashity for my free-to-play account. I believe Niv could be that one unit that can actually take your account over the hump if you're having that issue in terms of PvP and PvE. But one thing to bear in mind though, she is lightning, and we don't generally speaking have too many good lightning units. Obviously people are going to argue with me now about Sid and perhaps Celir and of course Frederica. Now, I'm not here to argue about it, I'm just merely stating we generally speaking do not have too many lightning units, but at least good ones. So I think the fact that she stands out so far of the pack in terms of a lightning element, I think in my honest opinion, I think I should probably go for her. So all this convincing myself suggests another thing. I always enjoy looks of units, and by just staring at her for the last 2 minutes while babbling to you guys about how I should be summoning her for myself, she is convincing me she looks really cool, right? She just looks really cool. Just her design to me is just very cool. So there you have it. I think I've convinced myself, and if you guys feel like that's a convincing argument or a convincing debate, maybe this will help you guys decide if you want to summon for her, on top of thinking about Thancred and Ystela from the Final Fantasy XIV rerun. If you're new to the game, I think she's going to be a great addition because she is just a very powerful unit. And I think for me, I can always use more units that can give me Quicken, even though I'm going to be relying on, obviously, Gilgamesh to do that. And I think the other units who can give you Quicken, such as Shell, are just too squishy enough for me to perhaps contemplate building them. I think the fact that this unit can do a lot of damage from a distance and do a lot of debuffs, and on top of it, give you Quicken abilities to make your units around her more powerful and faster, and the fact that she has so much range. I think she gets a +5 range total with the Trustmaster from Lucia. That's just too sweet to pass, honestly, right? So I think that's all the time for this video. Hopefully I'll do more of these should Nash save or should Nash summon videos, because, well, ultimately the person I need to convince the most is myself to further enjoy this game. Until next time, take care of yourself and all your loved ones. Thanks for listening. Thanks for your time. Nashaters and his family out here. Peace.